Yes, it's an epic final at Lord's, and England have defeated New Zealand. And what drama at Lord's. Jofra Archer bowling the final super over for England, and New Zealand scoring 15 runs, the same as England. But now England have been crowned as World Cup champions. England winning their first ever World Cup title. It's a great moment in the history of English sport because they are the ones who have invented the sport, and England have won the World Cup at Lord's. Extreme drama. Remember, the match ended at 241 each for both teams, and then it went to a super over. Jos Buttler and Ben Stokes came out to bat for England, and Trent Boult bowled that over, and they scored 15 runs. For New Zealand, Jimmy Neesham came out to bat with Martin Guptill, and they won the World Cup. 15 runs scored by both teams, but England have won a super thriller, and this is by far the most thrilling World Cup final in cricket history. And which better venue to have it than Lord's. England have won their first ever World Cup crown, and New Zealand have lost their second consecutive World Cup final. So it's a heartbreak for Kiwis because they did really well during the match, but England have managed to win the World Cup. And England has won it because they have scored more boundaries than New Zealand. That's an important factor here, and it's finally come home for the Kiwis because never has this happened in the history of the World Cup. The final ending in a tie, identical scores for both teams, and then even the super over ending in a tie. This has been a contest beyond epic proportions, and it is a celebration of the game, the gentleman's game, and England have managed to win this right at their home ground at Lord's. Ben Stokes has been stellar for England, and he will probably be named man of the match because of his superb innings. And Jos Buttler also played a 50, and Jofra Archer, who bowled that last over in which at the last ball New Zealand needed 2. They went for the double, but he got run out. Jimmy Neesham got run out, and England were crowned World Cup champions. First ever title for England, and it is at the home of cricket Lord's. England, remember, lost the World Cup final in 79. They lost it in 87, and they lost it in 92 to Pakistan. But this time they have won it, and they have won their first ever World Cup title. New Zealand won the toss, chose to bat first, scored 241 for 9, with Henry Nicholls scoring 55 and Kane Williamson scoring 30. And England in reply stumbled, their top order stumbled, but Ben Stokes, he's not known as the world's best all-rounder for nothing. He has proved why. He's a class player. I've been joined by my colleague Karan. Karan, what a thriller. Could you have asked for a better final and better than the venue of home of cricket?
Oh, absolutely not. Well, Vikram, what started as a very dull day, especially for Indians, for the fact that India was not a part of the World Cup finals. Well, for every cricket fan out there, this Sunday has ended as a super Sunday, because this final, I do not think that anybody else has ever seen a World Cup final like this. It's the first time a super over was played. It's the first time a final was ended in a tie. It's the first time that the super over also ended in a tie, and it's the first time that a team has lifted the World Cup owing to the number of boundaries that they have scored. And that's England, of course. They played very well, and it's history. And I'll correct you, actually. It's not Ben Stokes. I have a very strong feeling it's going to be Sir Ben Stokes. For the kind of performance that he's shown in today's match, he's created history. He's made sure that England crosses the line. They haven't done that 3 times over. They reached the finals. They lost the finals chasing all 3 times. Today, there was a moment when everybody felt that dream is not going to be fulfilled, when, especially between the 20th and the 40th over, when New Zealand was tightening the screws on England. Something changed. Who changed that? That was Ben Stokes, and he's the one, I think, who stood out for England today when it comes to the batting performance, and he made sure that England, well, they have created history. It's fantastic what they have done. I mean, the legends who we heard from before the match started, they know what the pain is like. They've been there. They know that we've been there in the finals. We've not qualified for the semis. We've not qualified for the finals. And there are a lot of expectations that the English fans have for the fact that cricket as a game started in England and it spread across the world. And if you start something, if you're not excelling at it, it hurts. And that pain has been taken care of. They have answered their critics. 2015, England was out in the group stage as well. They could only beat Bangladesh and Scotland. And the changes that they have made over the last 4 years coming into 2019 World Cup, well, they have worked immensely well for the team England. Hats off to the team management as well for the kind of changes that they have made, the strong decisions that they have taken. They have dropped the likes of the top bowlers. Jamie Anderson was there in 2015. He's been dropped. There was Stuart Broad who was dropped. They've gotten a lot of fresh blood, changed their thinking pattern, changed their style of play. They wanted more of all-rounders to come into the picture, and that's exactly what's helped them today in this big final being played at Lord's. You had a Joss Butler performing over there. You had Ben Stokes performing. The opening partnership did not do well. Jason Roy failed for a change, but then Johnny Bairstow was there to back him up. And these guys are a great bunch for the way they have been playing. And kudos to England for the way they have performed. Nail-biting as hell, I would say, is the closest that one can have when it comes to a nail-biting finish. And, well, I'm excited, Vikram. I'm supremely excited right now.
History for the sport because it's the home of cricket. It's Lords and it's the inventors of cricket who have won their first ever World Cup. And if I could run that graphic again, the score of the super over looks identical. 15 runs in 6 balls for England, 15 runs in 6 balls for New Zealand. And what an over. And if I would like to point out, Jofra Archer, the youngster, what a World Cup has he had. I don't think anyone in the history of the game has probably had a better debut World Cup than Jofra Archer, because he was given the responsibility of bowling that super over despite having the likes of Mark Wood and Liam Plunkett in the team. But he rose to the occasion. He went for a 6, but he came back, he kept calm, and Eoin Morgan very intelligently placing his field, Karan, and he knew that if he does not concede a couple, the World Cup is theirs. And it was there for the taking.
Like to comment on the Jofra Archer bit that you mentioned, Vikram. I think that was a very gutsy call. A 24-year-old guy who's come to the English team. He's playing his first World Cup. He did not pick up any wickets when he bowled earlier in the day. But then again, his bowling was so good from one end. He tightened the screws that from the other end, the bowlers were constantly picking up wickets. So Eoin Morgan, I mean, this is exactly what I'm saying. The thinking cap has changed. They're more dynamic when it comes to taking decisions. They're more proactive, slightly more aggressive. English players are now taking risk as well. And that's showing in their style of play, and that's exactly what Eoin Morgan did. He picked up Jofra Archer, the youngster, the 24-year-old youngster. I mean, imagine the pressure that he would have had to come out and bowl the super over and create history for England.
And Karan, remember, this is a redemption for Ben Stokes in the best possible manner, because he was the one who went through the agony of conceding 4 sixes in that World Cup, T20 World Cup final. But how has he paid back his team for keeping faith? Because Ben Stokes, like a lot of English legends have said, is a once-in-a-generation talent, and he is often compared to Ian Botham, the great Sir Ian Botham, he has delivered on the biggest stage.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, but which is why I said he's going to be Sir Ben Stokes after Sir Ian Botham. That's for sure. I guarantee you that's going to happen for sure.
Because the clamour had been going on for a long time. We saw how Graham Gooch, in fact, released a video and he said that I've failed in 3 finals. I have played in 3 finals, failed in 3 finals. Why don't you win it for me? Nasir Hussain, the likes of Marcus Trescothick, Freddie Flintoff, and others who led England over the years, they had said that they want this to come back, and it has come back. But what a nail-biter, and spare a thought for the Kiwis, who've produced another top-class performance.
Absolutely.
Again.
Yes.
And Kane Williamson's end, no one gave them a chance, but first of all, they read the pitch well. They scored a good total of 241 and then bowled excellently. In fact, their bowlers Colin de Granholm and Jimmy Neesham produced excellent bowling spells.
Absolutely.
Along with Lockie Ferguson and Trent Bolt. So a top-class performance from New Zealand, and they continue, that World Cup title continue to elude them, but they are the best for the sportsman spirit of the game, and they are not underdogs. They are real title challengers and the one of the best in the world.
Oh yes, absolutely. The way the Kiwis played today, I'll repeat, coming into the semi-finals, nobody gave a chance to New Zealand to beat India, but they beat India convincingly and in a very bold manner, I would say. That win would have given them a lot of confidence coming into the finals for the fact that they lost their last 3 league matches. And coming to the finals, yet again, nobody gave them a chance because everybody thought it's going to be England. Yes, eventually that happened. But then if you see the whole script, what happened, what kind of fight that New Zealand put up against England, the home team, under overseas conditions, it's amazing the kind of resilience and strength that the Kiwis have shown. And Kane Williamson out here has to be given a special mention for the fact the way he's led the Kiwis in this World Cup. They reached the finals in 2015 as well. They lost to Australia that time, and this time they've reached the finals again and lost yet again. So back-to-back 2 heartbreaks for the Kiwi team. They have reached the final twice but have not been able to cross over the finishing line as the #1 team, and it's rather saddening. But then again, it's a game. You can only have one winner, and that's exactly what happened today. England has won the 2019 Cricket World Cup by virtue of scoring more boundaries. It's something that you will never probably hear again when it comes to cricket and World Cups, because I feel this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that has happened. You score the same number of runs at the end of 50 overs. You score the same number of runs in the super over, which decides the tiebreaker. And what it comes down to, who's hit the maximum number of boundaries. And that's where New Zealand will be repenting right now, because they do not have the hitters, the kind of hitters that the English side had. And but Neesham came out, bold call yet again by Kane Williamson, smart thinking, sent in Guptill and alongside Neesham, and they almost got through. But this is something that's going to trouble the Kiwis, has troubled the Kiwis actually throughout the World Cup, for the fact they do not have the big hitters. Colin de Grandhomme came into this World Cup as a big hitter, as an all-rounder who will bat for New Zealand. But then again, his form has not been good, at least in today's match. He wasn't good enough. Maybe that's the reason he wasn't sent. But missing those big hitters at crunch moments is what New Zealand has to be worried about. This is where England snatched the match away. They had those big hitters who could clear the boundary at will whenever they want. Joss Buttler and Ben Stokes batted for a very long time, put up 100 runs. But then again, at the time when they needed a boundary, they would freely pick a spot and hit a boundary. And that goes to show the kind of confidence these guys have over the last couple of years, the kind of cricket that they have played coming into the World Cup, building to the World Cup. And every team guy, every member in this 11, people who weren't even picked today, have of course played a role in the previous matches. They've all played a big role in making sure that England lift their first title. And